Hello, good morning from here. Welcome back. We will start today's session with a drill from Madhaban. So there are words spoken in that consciousness of the soul being awake. Thank you. Warm welcome back, and hope the translation is working okay and all is fine. I think I'm a bit fuzzy, but we'll look into that. And yesterday, this word realization, from your sharing in the chat, different expressions came, like when the penny drops and when we get the click or the eureka moment. And different examples were shared, and Belinda was highlighting that one realization is to observe when the ego is in charge and even attempting to make effort. So ego can also try to observe thoughts, and ego can try to be good. The realization she was highlighting, when we can be in a position to spot, to sense when the ego is the one in charge, and we can see the tactics of that opponent, how the ego takes opportunity, and then effort can be easier because it is the soul that can play the game to win. So sometimes it's said it's a twist, but the game can be fun. And there were questions about how we can tell, and the answer about how we can tell we're winning, we are not getting into the same reactions from the drama scenes. That was one answer. The other aspect was the realization, just like if someone has won a lottery, then there is the experience which is alive and bubbling inside. And so that's the realization. Here we also have this eternal lottery. In fact, everyone has the eternal lottery, but the information is one thing and the reality, the realization, being another. And the homework, and maybe not just for today but ongoing, was nice to acknowledge and make a list of those personal realizations that have been noticed, and to dwell on them, and to grow in those, in the wonder of those. So making a list of realizations. So today we'll be continuing on the theme. So warm welcome, and handing over to Prashant. Good morning.
Thank you, and good morning. Yeah, it is nicely summarized. The most important function, Baba used the word power for that, power of realization. And someone who realizes, it takes a big jump. And we saw right from the first lesson, many people use the word soul. They write books on the soul also. But one who realizes what this means, what the soul means, he takes a jump. Because with realization, you are connected to it. Your experience follows. And when there is an experience, then you are experiencing the richness. Yeah, we said the wonder and amazement, all this follows. If something so wonderful is in front of you and you are not experiencing it, it means something is shut down. Sometimes the word emotional disconnect is used. Someone is not connected. It is a psychological state. And at present, when we are seeing this bigger map, it is a situation. Body consciousness is a state where there is emotionally, they are disconnected with the reality. So let us start with the minute of silence, but ours is a rich silence. And during this minute, we use our best sight, best intellect. Today, Baba used the word divine intellect, divine sight. We have it, and so it is essential to use it. If we do not use it, we cannot go for the highest experiences. And what happens when we use it? We are able to see the way God sees. It is as easy as that. Otherwise, we are caught into some kind of a narrow vision. So in 1 second, we are able to see the bigger map. This is all. Once you are seeing the bigger map, there is emotionally you are connected. You are understanding the freedom from the story. And in this environment of the divine intellect, the true self becomes conscious. Until then, the true self is not even conscious. True self conscious, he is able to see the bigger world, see the truth, see his nature, his invisible presence. This becomes natural for him. His immortality becomes natural. He understands he is from that supreme home, that expanse, he belongs there. So the soul that is conscious, he understands he's like an invisible prince, and understands his complete independence from the story. Physical world is different. Is different. As we continue on our journey, we just remember this one step, the invisible soul remaining conscious. Invisible soul is the invisible player, is the invisible actor, but all along he understands his independence from the story. Difference between soul consciousness and ego consciousness. Ego cannot see himself independent from the story. Ego is trapped in the story. It is the embodiment of bondage. It is based on the story. That's why the whole ignorance of ego. Soul that is conscious, it is 100% free from the story. Then only it is soul consciousness. Not 99%, but 100%. The soul that is conscious, we use the word invisible player, invisible actor. He understands that right now here, Prashant is talking, but Prashant is part of the story. This whole gathering, online gathering, it is all happening in the story. Temporary story. Invisible player understands his complete separation, independence. He is not seeing it is all mixed. Then it is the ego is the king. Ego will be ruling our life. Invisible player, his roots are separate. They are not in the story. He sees the absurdity that anyone who creates such a bondage in a little story. Thank you. We have time. We'll hear some thoughts from you. It will be nice if you want to, any comments or questions.
This independence is a magical word here, and we need to understand it as well in its complete crystal clear clarity. One thing which can sometimes pull us is where we understand not to give sorrow and not to take sorrow. But could you explain a bit about not giving sorrow, because perhaps our spiritual lifestyle itself can create sorrow in others, perhaps that we are not eating somebody's food or different aspects. Would you be able to share a bit about how this works?
Yeah, sure. Now we understand our psychodrama. Within us, on one side there is the angel, other side there is the demon. So when we are talking about soul consciousness, also we are really talking about the angel. And the body consciousness, ego, 10 heads of Ravan, that is the demon. Very clear. It is like a black and white. There is no gray here. Angel or the demon. And we know exactly what demon means. Demon is not just when there is extreme sorrow, that's a demon. Body consciousness, ignorance is the first trait of a demonic. Demon starts with ignorance. So if I come to our sketch, if I use the whiteboard and the sketch that we often use, we represent this dotted line for ignorance. So we do come in this physical world, in the story. Invisible actor will definitely come on the stage. So to come on the stage is not a sin. He's involved, he's associated with things of the drama. But to cross that line means you are creating attachments in a temporary world. Then you have crossed a line. You have created bondages. There is confusion. You have not understood your world. And then it gets worse and worse, and until you create an ego within it, that becomes further level of bondages in this. This is all Ravan department. Ravan department is crossing the line. Ravan department is ignorance. And in such a state, when there is, at present our society is a Ravan society. That's why Baba uses the word Ravan community, Ravan's kingdom, because everyone has crossed a line and we somehow manage our, smile and give gifts and celebrate Christmas. But it is underneath Ravan is there. The whole interaction is the Ravana interaction. Do you know the treaty that holds peace on this planet for the last 50 years? Between Brezhnev and Carter, there were 2 treaties signed, and these 2 treaties is holding peace. It is a reference point. Do you know what they are called? Do you want to type?
The name of the treaty?
Yeah, name of the treaty.
Which year, roughly?
In 70s. So they are called MAD. Mad 1 treaty, and afterwards it was Mad 2 treaty between Carter and Brezhnev. And MAD represents for mutually assured destruction. So they arranged the whole thing in such a way that if one person starts a war, that there is mutually assured destruction. So that is what is preventing the war for last 50 years. So we are all so amazing. We are all alive because of this treaty. But gives you an idea, very appropriate, in the Ravan community. This is the way we can hold peace. We have to have sharp teeth so that there is peace. And Kissinger, he says in some of the situations, Henry Kissinger, he says, we can't expect satisfaction in these different countries and all. To expect satisfaction is wrong. We have to accept that we are meeting each other to establish mutually assured dissatisfaction. Mutual dissatisfaction. This is our aim. Don't go for big ambition in any meetings. But mutual dissatisfaction, that is, anything else is a bonus. So this is the Ravan word. So this is us, me, until we become karmatit. There's a Ravan is there and the ego is there. Ego is all the time sort of assessing things. What do I get here? Full ignorance, but ego's life is he does not know that he is in ignorance. That is life. No one tells that there is ignorance. It is a spell. They operate within ignorance. They don't even know. They are dealing with a story. They don't even know who they are. This is the state. That is, they get PhDs and they are, writing books also, but under the spell of ignorance. Sure, that is the word. But one of these head of Ravan, he wants alcohol, and one head wants sugar, and one head wants cigarettes, and they're obsessed and addicted. And he's asking, you give me cigarettes, and you are giving cigarettes, that is happiness. And then in time, he has come to a level where he's dependent on you to give him cigarettes. And now, if you stop cigarettes, he will be unhappy, of course. Ravan will be unhappy. So when Baba tells us, don't give sorrow, it is not that don't give sorrow to Ravan. Our whole aim here is to remove Ravan. Ram comes to remove Ravan. Only then the other person can be truly happy. Our aim is not to make Ravan happy, because in the process we make Ravan bigger. And if we make Ravan bigger, we increase the unhappiness of the other person. Yeah, in essence, that is what the question was.
Thank you. So cooperating with others, Ravan, gives sorrow, but cooperating with the angel is when we are not giving sorrow. but also this, if there is a pothole, don't crash into it aspect, I guess. So if you can avoid creating a problem, then it's maybe favorable also. There's another question here. Could you expand a bit about romantic love and why exactly it is to be avoided in the spiritual path?
Yeah, sure. We saw in yesterday's discussion, especially, our aim is to experience our supreme reality. Our aim is to experience our self to start with. Experience, not just know, experience the wonder of the self, experience the wonder of the home, wonder of God, our great family, help others come in this. What prevents them from experiencing all this? The extraordinary truth is crumbs that are offered by Ravan. We are saying they are not experiencing, they are under the spell. Spell doesn't come by just from the sky. Ravan first offers some crumbs, little baits here. Just like a fish, it will not just come into your hook. You are fishing, there has to be a bait, some kind of a temptation. Then the fish gets trapped. So Ravan is offering some crumbs in different form, some glitter. Ravan is going around with this glitter and some cakes. And so these are the things that deceive these angelic souls. They are impressed with these temporary excitements, and then they are hooked. And then they can't. This extraordinary world is right in front of them. We are talking here, God and their own, world of bliss and truth and love, but they are not experiencing a fraction of it because they are drowning in this pot here. Starts with a little glitter, little excitement. Within this, the bait of human love can be a big area. Because if we human beings and human souls are extremely loving, love is a powerful energy within the souls. The soul and souls are held by immense love. Our love for God is immense. The human beings, as we have been mentioning yesterday, we are beings of love and bliss. Natural state, immense love and bliss. So there is a huge energy there of human love for souls and for God. What happens when this same energy is directed here in the drama? It has power. It gets sucked into it, into human beings. And so it's sort of directed to another human being, and they start singing songs and busy composing songs. And then he becomes possessive and starts complaining and starts experiencing sorrow. But now he can't come out of it. He's into the Ravan's trap in different way. It can get into another complication. One person here in Cambridge, he was sharing his story. He said he had some relationship with a girl and she left him. He said he was depressed and depressed for a year or longer. And then he got into another relationship and she left him. And he says, I had not recovered from the first depression. Now there is another situation. So in that state, what will happen is in a desperate situation, desperately looking for someone to sing a song, and someone to praise him, someone to love him. He's desperately looking for. In that confused state, he's only looking for the direction downward. That is later, but first it starts with the human love, human attachments. Lust is another level of bondage, even further degradation. But romantic love, if someone gets into that, then you are finished. This search for the supreme reality, that is not possible. Mind is locked into this drama, in this box. In either way, pull or push, every small thing will bother him, and everything will create some kind of that powerful energy we have of love. It is given a direction. Sensible person will use this energy of love in the direction of God. We have this energy of love, but its original destination is in the supreme world. Soul and the supreme soul. This is a original bond. Before we go to any other comments or questions?
A quick question. What year did the confluence age start?
1936. At the moment of the incarnation of God, that is the onset of the confluence age. Just a few thoughts based on the Murli of today. I want to touch this subject. And those who have not heard the Murli of today, that's just a few lines I will be reading. What was the subject? Those who read, what was the subject of the Murli of today? You can type. What was the important message for you?
Coming and going, and aspect of a second.
Sure.
Being committed, detachment.
Yes. So under the subject of coming and going, Baba was expanding on the subject of detachment. So in the message, to be a karma yogi means I, a bodiless soul, am detached from the bondages of my body. I come into action in order to perform an action. Or in other words, I come into this world in order to perform action. I complete action, become detached from any relationship with that action. I stay in a relationship, but not in a bondage. Now, the whole Murli is based on freedom, mukti, jivan mukti, liberation in life, and the bondage. So if we are to see the scene, the complete scene, we are seeing that we are seeing that this invisible player, that's the main thing, invisible player is temporarily associated with this story, and he has a home. He is going to go back to his home. Invisible player. And as we are discussing so far, once the confusion comes in, he creates a bondage and bondages and more bondages. What is the end result of that? As he starts creating bondages and bondages, he is not even conscious. He becomes unconscious. Ego taking birth means the invisible player doesn't even know that he exists. So this is useful for us to know. We sometimes give an example. Mary is acting in a drama as a camel, children's drama. Mary is acting the role of a camel, and someone else is acting the role of an elephant. Mary gradually gets into attachments to the world of camel. I know, so it is confusion, I know, but still it is okay. But if there is a time when she thinks, I am the camel, and completely forgets that Mary exists even, that is another level of problem. She doesn't even know Mary exists. Completely wiped out memory of Mary. Camel, I'm a nice camel, I'm a good camel, I'm virtuous camel. And then she attends special programs to become nice camel, to become holy camel, to become spiritual. But it is all around camel. And she has no chance, that there is Mary there. If she's told you are Mary, she says, okay, the camel is Mary. Let us call this camel Mary. It is that level of confusion. This is what is happening to us. When we are saying the invisible soul is the invisible actor, an invisible player, we need to realize what this means for us. Important realization is this, that this is a completely separate thing. It is not just camel becoming spiritual. That is not an aim. Aim is the invisible actor has to wake up and realize that he exists, and he has a separate world. It is Mary has a separate world. Mary has separate parents, and Mary is not an extension of camel. Same applies to us. When we understand the soul is separate to Prashant. And soul existed before Prashant was born. Completely separate. Soul is not an extension of Prashant. This is the first step for us. That an invisible player need to wake up. That's what. And when we are saying this, understand his complete independence from the body and the role. Role itself is part of the story. If we understand this, that there is an independent actor here, if we realize this, that a realization, the process applies very much here, then we will understand the Murli better. We'll understand the scale of bondage and the bondages that are created in this little story. It is buried. The soul is buried in that world of the story. You want to add anything to this or ask anything?
There was just a request to clarify a little bit further, perhaps with another example, if it would be possible.
Yeah, sure. Let us say, Sean Connery is acting the role of James Bond. And Sean Connery, is playing the part in 1 hour film. He's playing the part of James Bond. James Bond is going down the rope from a helicopter and saves 100 people, from drowning. They were drowning in the water. James Bond saves 100 people. And they all got rescued. He saved them with one hand. And Sean Connery, the drama finishes and Sean Connery comes home. Sean Connery doesn't say, wow, how amazing. I saved 100 people. He understands that was the drama, that was a stunt. That was separate. And Sean Connery is separate. He is not mixing the two things. Today in the Murli, the big message that came, don't get into the bondage of the karma. You are performing actions, but don't get into the bondage of actions. That was the message. So how do we create a bondage? If Sean Connery thinks that he's James Bond, then he says, I am the one who saved these 100 people. How amazing. He comes home with the excitement. I saved 100 people. Get polluted by the actions that are performed. Just as we get into bondage with people, in this world, we create bondage with people, position, possessions. Another big department of our bondage is action. The drama is full of actions, and invisible actor gets polluted by this. Me, look at me, I have done this action, I get this prize, I'm so wonderful. One who is karmatit, if that is the direction, we need to be free from the whole lot. We cannot promote this. And we need to at least observe we are creating bondages here, and we want to become free from them. Invisible actor understands is completely separate from the character, from the role. If Sean Connery can do this, we can do this. So here, the invisible actor is the soul. Invisible soul is the actor. And Prashant is the character. Prashant is talking, Prashant is doing things. And that is according to script. The invisible actor understands. If he says me, then he is polluted. He is himself into bondage. Someone who is trapped, he is not useful to himself, he's not useful to others. Say animal that is trapped. What is the destiny? One animal is trapped. There will be sorrow sooner or later. And there are many people going around to to trick the animal so that they can be trapped. So deception, getting trapped. Then the next step is sorrow. So also here, if these souls get deceived and come into the trap, into the bondage because of one or the other, people, position, possessions, or actions, for one reason or the other, then the destiny is sorrow, pain, different forms of pain, and degradation. But another thing is, one who is himself deceived, he cannot be useful to others. Our aim here is to be free from all deception. A good thing to know, we are drawing this map so that we know all deception happens within that story, in the context of the story. So all that we have to ask, am I free from this whole story? The invisible actor can say yes. He has an option to remain free. That invisible actor, if he's not even conscious, and he says, all mixed up, then he cannot be free. Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. There are a few very good questions coming up. And maybe one here. So as an invisible player, when one is expected to practice this detachment throughout human life, why isn't it allowed for a person to fully immerse in human romantic love with the same kind of detachment or independence?
Why is it allowed? Is that
why isn't it allowed for a person to fully immerse in human romantic love with the same kind of detachment? Why can't we be detached and then be involved with human romantic love as an
yes,
invisible player?
Yes. We want to love the souls. Since love is such a powerful energy, we don't want to direct it with ignorance. So if you are watching Tom and Jerry cartoon, don't use the energy of love in the Tom and Jerry world, because it is a confusion, and then the cartoon finishes and you are left with broken heart afterwards. Love is like that. We cannot just play with it because you feel hurt by this. That there has to be the continuity in love. If it is interrupted, that is the only reason for broken hearts everywhere. When it is at the soul level, and souls are visiting here. We gave the example earlier. Mary is acting the role of camel. And if I start loving camel and ignore Mary, then it is a confusion. Mary might need some help, and I don't even know Mary exists. And I'm just loving camel, singing song to camel. And Mary is in big trouble. Here, our aim is to love the real person, and then we enjoy the part of the camel. Even Mary doesn't want to get into attachment or love to a camel. Mary is playing the stunt, and she doesn't get into that love for the camel. Same here. Our position is to stay in truth. And that love is an immense love. We don't use the word romantic. That is different words gets used at the drama level. But this is like a spiritual love is the highest love. It is rich and unconditional.
Happy to hear any reflections on that. As a question, there was a reading can transform relationships of bondage where there is karma into relationships of service. What consciousness will bring us to that relationship of service, even if we are not yet karmatit?
Yeah, sure. To do any of these things, first we need to be ourselves on the right side of the line. So when we have crossed the line, everything becomes so mixed, and bondages and sorrow and everything confused. So first we get this right, that there is a story here. There is the invisible player here. An invisible player has got his family of souls. He's clear of this. And then he understands, okay, I am in this world where there are many, many people in different relationships. Some are neighbors, some are in the family, some are at work, different in drama that is going on. But behind all these are the souls. And they are our brothers. And we have come here in the drama. The one who has woken up, he says, he has come in this drama to free the souls from their bondages, from this whole confusion. That is the biggest help every soul needs at the present time. And it might mean your attitude, your vision, that itself may be a big help for them. Just your attitude and vision. Maybe they will be interested to hear more. That maybe later they themselves might ask. But your attitude of that is seeing the souls and intention to free the souls from this confusion. That is a relationship of service. As was said, they are in the drama, playing the part, and someone may be born in a family, someone is at work, so different relationships. In the past, we were seeing this is all like bondage. Why am I in this place? Why am I in this family? This kind of thing may be there. But now you are not in a bondage. Soul is just playing the part there. He knows the drama is to finish anytime. His world is separate world. Only reason he's there is to serve. So the relationship of service is brought in. This formula applies to 100% of situations. There is no situation where you do not, there is an attitude of complaint.
Okay, thank you. And one question, it was heard a story about Brahma Baba dealing with the situation physically of the partition in India, and how what he did was a good demonstration of how he knew what was happening in the drama and then acted based on his discernment and following the directions of Supreme Being. So in our effort, how much do we need to be knowledgeful about the drama and then act from our virtues? An example could be today, the pandemic. To what extent do we need to know about the drama in order to act in accordance to what is best?
By that question, if you mean we need to know the future, we don't need to know the future. There is
Maybe this present situation. I think more like the present, like the politics, or in this case, it's the science, or the, how much do we need to analyze or understand the news, make decision and act accordingly.
So what really happens, when you are soul conscious, you just need to hear just a 1 minute news, 1 minute information, and you understand a lot more. you understand what is happening. Another person, he hears this news and these details and the commentary and discussion, and he is still in confusion. But you understand the essence. What is the, and same thing applies to other, not just political news, but in relationships, human interactions. Just 1 second, just look at the face of the person, and you understand a lot more than what can be the information someone writes to you for 10 minutes. Just in 1 second, you come to know a lot more. What is relevant? You come to know what is relevant. But our program is the same. We don't need to know too much about drama. There can be surprises and something else happens. Story is story. The story has got its own script and details. And suddenly dragons come, and maybe 10 dragons come. It's a story. Your program, that is not conditional upon the story.
Feels intuitively right. And one reply to that, so advice may be given to take the vaccine and stay in soul consciousness, but what are the implications? What sanskars are emerging when one does something that is not according to what he or she believes is right? Does it make sense?
The vaccine may not be coming to that subject today, but broad the essence. First, we have to become free. That is the important part, and from that, you understand what the next thing to be done. In this area, I might also like to underline this. We all want to be soul conscious, and we all want to be accurate, refined. In this practice, start from the sky, and you will find it easier rather than start from here. Starting from the drama, start from the sky. Start from freedom rather than start from the bondage. And I say, if you are creating time for attention, now go for the highest and the best freedom and start from there. And then come in the drama, see the perspective. You will find it, the experience will become deeper. And all of us want experience, and it's spiritual experiences. And the people want experience in this world. They go to some far distance place to do bungee jumping and to parachute jumping because they want to experience.
क्योंकि लोगों को अनुभव चाहिए, इसलिए वे बंजी जंपिंग आदि में जाते हैं.
We have inspiration from Asta. We'll assign as translator. Please continue.
Yeah. So the spiritual experiences are the highest, ultimate. In fact, people do various other things to get the nearest replacement for spiritual experiences. They know at one time they experienced this. They are trying different things to get some replacement for this in a physical way. So whether it is they drink coffee or they want to eat something, but we want the highest experience. And so we come into the spiritual, efforts. But in here, if our effort is ego-based, then the spiritual experiences are blocked to a big extent. And our effort will be mixed, for a time. Ego will try to mix himself in our efforts. If it is soul-based effort, by that I mean zero ego. Even for a few minutes, you have bypassed ego. Soul-based effort, then the experiences will become deeper. It is not imagination. Our whole effort is not imagination, but experience. And you will feel also there is an experience and not an imagination. So starting from the sky, that helps you bypass ego. So let us create some time. Let us come in this experience. I'll speak few words. This sketch is a good one for us to have in front of us. We see the life of the invisible player. Straight we come to this. Invisible player is the invisible soul. For him, it is normal to be immortal. Invisible player knows his complete independence from the story. He knows everything that happened today. It happened in the story, everything of the past, a story. He sees it as a small story. And further, he has no interest in that story. Whole thing, he has no interest. Ego is drowning in it. Ego is obsessed with things of the story. Invisible player has no interest. Invisible player comes in the story world as an invisible incarnate for a very clear task. He wants to reach his invisible brothers. He's focused in that task. He wants to reach his soul brothers. He sees them, he loves them, he wants to serve them. He wants to free them from this deception. Invisible brothers, he's focused. Like any incarnate, incarnates are focused. They are not distracted by small things. So in this case, invisible incarnate, he has no interest in the entire story. He sees that story is like a side scene. But he is very interested in his sky. Very interested in his alokik family, alokik father, alokik home. That is his world. He is from there. That is natural for him to belong there, to love his true family. That is natural. Invisible, incarnate. He finds it that he is very lucky Why he's lucky? He knows his life is with God. He knows the worthiness to belong to God and to be loved by God. Alokik. He knows that is natural, unearthly. He knows his world is world of immortality. Whole thing is eternal and exists forever. That's a huge thing. Not only eternal and immortal, his world is beyond harm. Nothing in the three worlds can harm anything or anyone. Not even the slightest. All are beyond harm. They remain the same. What an extraordinary thing to realize. He also knows they need nothing. They are never beggars. They need nothing for their existence. Innately noble. Noble means they feel they got everything. They are full. That's why invisible incarnate knows that he is lucky. He knows everyone is lucky. They are from God's family. All are lucky. He knows their world is world of truth. They are not spending life in a story like ego and Ravan. His life is in a story full of deception, drowning in that falsehood. Whereas here we realize that life is in truth, the real world, the real family, the real father, true home. He finds from this angle, everything is beautiful and everything is perfect. Everyone is perfect, everything is perfect. Nothing appears wrong. Story is also great and souls are immensely lovely. As was said, they are never beggars, never victims. And if they are free from Ravan, that is their original state, all are immensely lovely. They are godlike, harmless, innocent, childlike. Such is the family. And this is the eternal family. Family of souls. Every second we create time in this dimension, it becomes the highest karma. Invisible, incarnate, just aware of this big alokik truth. He stays in this alokik experience. It is the highest karma because it becomes a reason for others to wake up. It is like a lighthouse effect. You create light in this dimension. Your attention itself becomes like a light. When everyone else's attention is elsewhere, mostly in the story, you are shining light in this dimension of truth. With focus, then it becomes a lighthouse. life of bliss and blessings. The invisible incarnate naturally remains the embodiment. He embodies that freedom. Baba spoke about Jivan Mukti and Mukti. The invisible incarnate is embodiment of Jivan Mukti, freedom, embodiment of knowledge. He embodies what is right. He embodies this unlimited renunciation. He has no interest in the whole story. Starting position is this. And he may get involved in that story. He may be using things, but he goes there as an incarnate. He has no interest. Story includes people, position, possessions. Whole lot. He has no interest. But he loves the souls and he wants to serve the souls. And he helps the souls in an extraordinary way. Frees them from deception. So immensely loving, at the same time, extremely detached. Invisible incarnate. He remains the embodiment of yoga because he knows his life with God. He knows that he is loved by God. Worthiness is there. When it is ego-based effort, worthiness is not possible. Ego will never feel worthy to be loved by God. Some level, missing. For good reason. But when it is the invisible incarnate, he feels worthy. He's clean. He doesn't see himself from the story. He is from the God's world. Always been. We do not use the letter I anywhere. It is like an objective. We just see the invisible traveler, see in an objective way. But as if a new I takes birth. Deep inside, feeling comes, that is our form, that is us, that is I. New I takes birth. And that is useful for us because the old I is polluted by ego. Each time the word I is used, ego gets mixed. That's why it becomes ego-based effort. And we have the option to bypass the ego in a big way by avoiding the letter I. Excellent. Om Shanti. Maybe it is time for the rooms and we'll get a chance to meet and discuss further after the rooms.
Yes, there's some very good questions for clarification for when we return.
If you want, we can take one now.
Just to clarify the example of Sean Connery. So he shouldn't congratulate himself for saving lives when playing the part of James Bond. That's clear. But what about the bad actions that are carried out in the story by James Bond? Does Sean Connery not bear any responsibility?
Good. So at a practical level here, let us take the example of Sean Connery. If Sean Connery is performing actions based on the directions of the director, then it is not a bad action. He doesn't take responsibility. If he performs actions in spite of the director tells him one thing and he does something else. Like, for example, in this, someone shoots someone, and the other person is literally is harmed by his shooting. And if the police find that it is not the direction of the director, he did it himself, then he is responsible and he will get a penalty also. So same here, that we have the director here. Baba is our director in this drama. Baba is Satguru and Baba is the father, but in connection with the drama, Baba takes that responsibility. And Baba wants us to perform certain actions. It's a drama. Okay, Baba knows it's a drama, but perform certain kind of actions. Baba doesn't want us to perform villain role. Baba says, play the part of a hero. Baba doesn't want even us for us to do certain singing or writing poems. I say others will be doing that job. You focus on certain things, highest actions. Even in the drama, don't give sorrow, don't take sorrow. Baba gives a very clear direction. So we stay with that, and then it is not your responsibility. If you do things in spite of Srimad, then it is your responsibility.
Happy to hear if that helps. Yes, it's clear. Thank you. So now this opportunity to discuss what would you like to pose a question that might enable some discussion in the rooms? Start us off.
Important question for today is understanding freedom, how to be involved here and remain free. The detachment, the word detachment has to be understood as freedom.
Yes, it's good because the word detachment is not a positive word somehow, but the fact that it is like being independent, and that means clarity. So freedom is a nice substitute. So how can we be involved and remain free? So enjoy the discussion, and we'll be continuing with the questions and reflections after the break. Thank you. Welcome back. We're still waiting for some to land. The last few seconds. Back, everyone moving at fast speed in cyberspace. Let's take a moment just to pause and catch the experience of what was important for ourselves before we move on. you. I'd like to invite Belinda in to share some thoughts on what was discussed so far, or anything that comes up on this topic.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. Oh, again, very lovely discussions, just helping to really see the extent of the deception. And I was just feeling that to the extent that we recognize the deception, to that extent, we will experience the freedom. And this is really our journey of our spiritual path, is to increase our understanding of the ego and the traps of the ego, and then to enjoy actually the freedom that comes when we recognize. Because if there isn't the recognition of deception, then there's nowhere to go to. So the freedom or the progress of the soul is not possible unless there's that recognition. And one thing that came up in our group today was the aspect of really understanding how our actions, when they are coming from the ego, they are what keep us stuck in bondage. In other words, limiting our ability to experience freedom. And pure action, which is really what Baba is showing us, how to come into that stage where the actions are pure. In other words, they no longer have the power to keep us stuck in the bondage of action. And that bondage of action keeps us stuck in relationships, in all areas within the drama. But just to realize that karma or action performed by the invisible incarnate, one who is completely free, he then becomes free from any form of bondage. And that is why, Baba encourages us just to follow his directions, as was mentioned earlier. And that is the safety for the soul, because then he doesn't step into Ravan's territory, where in a second he can be overtaken by that delusion that comes with everything in Ravan's world. Is complete delusion. So if we look at people in the world today, what they consider to be a good action is invariably coming from ego. And so much sorrow is taken because there's this belief that it's a good action, They don't understand why they don't get the return of that, why they don't get the happiness, the cooperation, why their expectations are not met. So they're on a sort of ever increasing treadmill of sorrow. So just like keeping it very clear that yes, we are in this drama and there is action to be performed. But this element of detachment, just to be able to come and then to go to perform that action and then be completely detached from the outcome of the action. Because this is where the ego keeps us trapped, is there's always some anticipation of some outcome. But the drama is not going to change and cooperate according to our expectations of it. It is what it is. And so the invisible incarnate comes, plays the role, performs the action, whatever is required, but remains above and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Belinda. It just became clear when you were sharing how seeing this physical world as a story, as a model, it allows for that complete freedom in the mind. And then it's that higher energy, which is not trying to change the story. And that energy is coming with that direction from the director of the play. So as was mentioned, one is not needing to get into complicated feelings either, because you're carefree following the director. So it's like a churning to catch those moments of real liberation. And I liked what you said, enjoy the freedom. We need to see the ego. We don't need to have yoga with it. We see it and then we can shift the posture, and that brings everything with it. So Prashant, we would like to hand back to you, and maybe questions will come to yourself, but maybe also Belinda.
Thank you. And thank you to Belinda. In our discussion yesterday and today, we saw this wonderful power, realization. And it's some simple thing that we may be using. There is a step of realization, and then you are connected to it. We said this drama, we are using this word drama and story, we use this word. But imagine, the people pay money to go and watch a little theater in some corner somewhere, in a crowded place. And here is a drama offered to us. And see the wonder of this, scale of it, and different characters. And it is literally a drama. Its only function is performance. That is what it means. Drama, we don't use it in some other meaning. No, this is a performance. Right now, there's a bird flying there. This is all for the entertainment, a performance, this episode. And next scene will be another. Such extravagance in this drama. If I was not to realize it, I may go through the whole thing and not even realize what is offered to me at this level. what a wonder that is offered. The soul, we are talking about immortality here. Person of light who is immortal. Doctors are making so much effort, trillions are spent to increase the lifespan of a human being. Just live a bit longer. That's what is seen as a huge success. 10-year survival rate, 20-year survival rate is seen as a big success. And here we are talking about immortality, being beyond harm. And this applies to us, where death doesn't exist. But also, each one is made of bliss and love, and there is no reason for sorrow. This is the way we are made. We have the option to go upside down, but everyone is holy. Our life is with God and we belong to God. Not just as a nice, some statement that we hear, but realize means you are seeing what it means. And did I hear it? And do I understand what it means? Someone belongs to some royal family, and others also see with so much, they feel amazed. Someone just knows some queen or king, they will be so impressed. Here you belong to the King of Kings. Belong. Realize it is a definite step, not just a sentence. We hear it, but realization, then you are emotionally connected. You are seeing the wonder of that, what it means. So we give the example. Someone was to win a lottery, and he realizes it, that he has won some few millions. He will not forget it. Rest of the day, he will not forget. Where whatever he's doing, he will be aware of. He has won a lottery. And even if he goes into the town, others who see him will also remember the lottery. That lottery is in that story, temporary story world. The lottery that we win, it's an eternal lottery. No comparison. Just see the drama, performance that is offered to you. The story cannot harm you. Many, many dragons are there in the story, and death and destruction and nuclear weapons. But nothing harms you. Story cannot harm. Story is there. Just my confusion will be harmed. The souls are immortal. Not even the slightest harm. So you are understanding, and then you are seeing the wonder. If there is a realization, you are seeing the wonder of every aspect, the family. But another aspect we need realization is realization of the karma. That if one realizes certain actions performed, what it means. Baba says this is a sin. He say if someone was asked, put your hand in the fire, he won't do it. But if he is told, if you perform this action, then the result of that will be like hand going into fire. Then you are seeing things with a different meaning. So some of the actions, its end result is guaranteed suffering, guaranteed pain. That's why Baba said this is a great sin. This is like a worst thing can anyone do for anyone, for yourselves or for others. Understand this. Many times that may be not understood, not realized. We hear it, even as Brahmins, we may hear it, but not realize. And if that is realized, then will be really thinking how I can avoid even the thoughts of certain actions. because that is also a sin. If it is something is poison, why should I go in that direction, even the slightest? But if the realization happens, then it will be possible to take the next step. No one wants to harm himself in this, even animal, or no one wants to harm themselves. Here the real issue is, if there is confusion and zombie, they continue to deceive themselves. And not one aspect is we are losing the wonder, but on the other side, we go in the direction of pain and penalty, sin, the whole degradation. Ravan means it is going in that direction. And you realize that how to prevent that in yourselves, and what is the real help to others. You understand the root reason. What's the root cause of sorrows in the world? Realization also of different forms of Maya. We can be light. Sometimes people say, oh, it is Maya. They are still performing wrong actions right now. And they say, oh, it is Maya. As if it is very light, about Maya also. Baba says, Maya, but it's a snake. And a snake will bite you. There is a harm. At the end of it, there is a harm. If there is one thing that can harm the soul, that is ignorance. That is all. Souls are immortal, souls are beyond harm. But this ignorance that we create, it brings sorrow. For whatever reason, Ravan and all brings sorrow. People experience sorrow. And this is all that we need to prevent. Maya and Ravan, they are determined to take us into ignorance, entrenched, can keep us in ignorance. Different aspects for us to, yesterday we saw the list of things we can create where we need to realize, but realization, as if every aspect of knowledge needs that element of realization. And that realization takes us to the level where we see the depth of it, we see the relevance, significance. Excellent. So let us hear some thoughts from you.
On the topic of karma, the example is the soul may be faced with situations that are coming, one needs to take responsibility for, and it may be something as a result of past karmic accounts. How do we avoid getting into subservience or bondage?
Yes. First is we have the option to become free this moment, this second. Let us do that. The freedom is like the invisible incarnate wakes up, you are free. Invisible incarnate perspective is free. Things will come in the drama and based upon past or whatever things, situations will come. We have to deal with it. But all along we have the option to deal with it from the highest perspective. So Jivan Mukti in 1 second, that is like an absolute program. Because past actions were wrong, it doesn't justify another wrong action now.
Thank you. If someone is doing something wrong in the drama, so someone else is performing karma, which will either harm themselves or the environment, create some destruction, helping them, does that mean introducing them to spirituality and their reality as a soul? What about addressing what their actions are to the environment, whatever they are doing? Do we work at two levels? Is there any time that we work at both levels?
Yeah, sure. The essential primary job of ours is to come out of ignorance. That is the primary job, ourselves. We need to come out of confusion, ignorance. Primary duty of ours to others is take them out of ignorance. Once that is done, and then we understand, okay, here is the story, and story has got some script. If you think you are in a position to do something in that story and help the environment, well and good. But do not do it from the position of confusion. Because any action, any decision taken from confusion can create bigger problems at all levels. So the program, simple program for us, first and come out of the confusion. Whenever there is doubt, first is let us stay in the highest consciousness. And from there you are seeing things. What is the priority? And you also understand this is the highest things that can happen to anyone else. They come out of confusion, deception. The souls become conscious. And then everything else is a bonus if you think it needs to be done.
Okay, thank you.
The reason emphasis here placed on the coming in the right side of the line, because if I don't put that right and try to help the environment, help corona patients, and there are many things are going on this planet. It can draw me. One thing pulls me, and then I am getting drawn into it more and more and more, and then I myself am, not really helped in a right level. And opportunities are lost in a big way.
Invitation to shift consciousness and then see what that new is.
Yeah.
A different question here: how to differentiate experience from imagination? I know we've come to time. We have.
Yes, sure. You yourself will know, but we emphasized when it is ego-based, the best it can do is imagine, visualize. It becomes just words, God, love, and many words, going at such fast speed, and that becomes just a imagination at most, or it may not even be imagination, just words. But if you bypass ego, then you yourselves know it is not that you are into the experience, and your reactions are from there. You act from that space, so all of that is soul-based effort.
Thank you. I hope that helps. So maybe
if it is experience, it has power to change your sanskaras. Just imagination by itself, as we know, it will, if it is ego-based effort, it will not change our sanskaras. But it may be a start, but also an experiment with the method where we can start from the sky, underline that, and you are improving the chances of going into the experience.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So I hope it's okay to ask one more question. This is from Portuguese group. So we understand that drama is like a script. We are just actors. It's not the aim to change the content of the play. We are here to be good actors. But how do I know at every moment what I am doing is right? If we're not yet karmatit. For example, if one's superior tells one to do something and one doesn't feel it's right, should one obey that because one is in that role? Is that not discarding one's responsibility?
Sure. In every situation, we act in certain way. There is culture and there are many factors. There is no prescription in what you should do in one situation with a boss and what you should do with another boss. There is no prescription. But the first prescription is go in your highest consciousness. Pay attention to that. And then whatever has happened, past, that is the way it is. Put a full stop. That was the right. Move on. In every situation, all these inner factors that will guide you to take the decision. And if you feel this is the right decision, you take the decision. But whatever is past, it's a story. And don't go into too much dissection. But if you want to decide what should be planned or how you can get the consciousness right, highest, and that gives you the clarity, that gives you right priorities also.
And by doing that, it gets refined because we are becoming clearer and clearer. It gives a direction and a learning each time. So we've come to time, and would you like to share, Prashant, any final sort of summary? And another question slipped in. You can just answer. Is this the purpose of the drama? Maybe to learn to be free from it.
At the present time, the biggest thing we can achieve is remain free from the drama. I won't say it is the purpose of the drama, but this is highest thing we can do at present time. And what is the, I might underline this. This is such a important subject for us, realization and becoming free, understanding how to come in the experience of these spiritual insights. We hear things, how to, I might encourage to go through our own revision of notes, but also experiences. Some of the meditations that we did, go through those meditations. And we meet again. There is an event in 3 weeks, something like this. There will be opportunity.
That's true. We'll be sharing the full details to everyone who registered for this retreat by email. And the next retreat will be around Nyara and Pyara, the 2 words that rhyme, detached and loving in English. So in 3 weeks, we'll be posting all the details on your email. So look out for that.
Dates, you want to tell the dates?
Yes, we probably need to just confirm, but I think it will be 12th, 13th. So it's relevant because Valentine's Day, we need to know about spiritual love, freedom, true love. And do check your junk mailbox if you don't get an email from us. Sometimes it goes in the spam.
This is 6 p.m., 6 to 8 p.m.
Yes, so we have to alternate. So those who are joining from Asia, you will get the recordings if you register. So we'll finish with a song, and really enjoy this practice. We look forward to hearing from you and sharing and ongoing experiments in this alive process of realization, this emerged lottery. So we'll see you soon. Thank you to everyone. Thanks to the translation teams and the room hosting teams. Have a very good rest of the day. Thank you.
Before the story, before the name, beyond the mind's attempt to find or explain, before the breath, beyond the sense of pleasure or of pain. And after death, I am. Within the heart, the whole and part of everything I see. Behind the eyes, beyond the skies, reflecting me. At the silent core, and yet before a phenomenon began. Oh, and after it, I am. Oh, many differences separate us on the surface, yes. But I cannot find a boundary in consciousness. And when you ask me, where does awareness begin and does it end? I have to say, I've always been. Within the body, without the body, not subject to changing moods or states of health, points of view. Without needs, before the deeds and the monuments of man. Oh, and after them, I am. Oh, many differences separate us on the surface. I cannot find a boundary in consciousness. Oh. And when you ask me, where does awareness begin and does it end? I have to say, I've always been. Silent core, and yet before phenomena began. Oh, and after it,